Welcome to episode 4 of PonderCast by Ponder Media. I'm your host, Ian Fox, and we are here today with Second Spring. Welcome.
Hello. Thank
AKA
you.
Liv?
Yes, Liv.
Sweet.
Yes.
Didn't know how you wanted to be referred to.
I do have
asked.
a name, so no, that's okay. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming on. So I was perusing your Spotify page earlier. You have 3 songs out right now, starting all the way back in 2018 and coming up as recently as last month.
Yes.
So those 3 songs or any other music, generally, how would you kind of introduce yourself to someone?
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah.
So artistically. Oh, that's a key point. I haven't really had to start like thinking about that until recently, because then that's like recently when people started asking. Mm-hmm. So I should have thought of my answer by now. It kind of changes depending on like who I'm talking to. Mm-hmm. So I would say like overall I just say like singer-songwriter type thing, because I don't do a lot or most of like the production by myself. I do for some things, like for Cool Girl I did, and like that's the most recent, but I guess the most all-encompassing would be singer-songwriter. But then that's like, it gets weird because then people are like, oh, what genre? Or like they think that is a genre, which it is. So it definitely changes depending on like who I'm actually talking to. Mm-hmm. But overall, I would say, I'm a singer-songwriter. And then usually I give my location, because some people are like, Minneapolis, because Prince is from here. So I'm like, what can I say? Yeah, it is. Which I didn't think, like, growing up, like, I didn't think that it was such a huge music thing. I always thought, like, oh, you have to move to California, or you have to go to New York or something in order to actually, like, produce stuff. And a lot of, like, the people that I do work with producing are in those places, because that's just where, like, the connections are. But there is, like, a really good, especially DIY scene. And I would say, like, especially for, like, punk music and stuff, I think Minneapolis is, like, the place. Mm-hmm. So, but yeah, I think overall, singer-songwriter. That's
Sweet. Production was one thing I, like, really want to talk about, because like Cool Girl has crazy production. The thing that sticks out to me about that song is a lot of the background noise and like effects and background vocals. Super dense song. So you said you were working with other producers and producers not in the cities. So like, who are you working with, if you want to name them? And otherwise, what is the kind of process of like working with people either remotely or from a distance?
Yeah, so for Cool Girl, it's interesting because a lot of people said it's like well produced, which is it's a nice compliment, but I made it on my phone.
Oh shit. What?
So I made it in BandLab.
Sick.
Which is a really cool app it's free. Not sponsored, but it's I was getting into using loops, and so I found this one loop. It's called like Scandinavian pop, I think. Word. So I just played around with it. I've never used loops before. Usually I just do everything through MIDI. So I have my piano in the other room, and then I use my MacBook, and then I just do everything there and then pick the sounds that I want to have. But for Cool Girl, it was nice because all the effects were already there. And so all I had to do was like put them in the spot that I wanted them to be, which is so much easier than having to do each individual part, because it all makes it sound like actually more cohesive. So it's interesting, because I thought that was like it's technically the least produced song, because it's literally just like a, I guess, stock beat type thing. But for the vocals, like they have a lot of like effects and stuff, so I did the vocals on my computer, and I used Logic for that. I was using GarageBand for pretty much everything until like this last year, because it's good. And producing is really hard. Like, I'm not good at it. Like, so yeah, for Crocodile Tears and for my future stuff, for Crocodile Tears, I worked with my friend Ash, and they work with like Francis Forever, if you know them. The song like Space Girl, if you remember that. Good song. Yeah. So they work with Francis Forever and stuff like that, and we met like in like 2018 or something, And so they helped me a lot with Crocodile Tears doing like most of the, if not all of like the mixing and mastering and stuff, because that's another, like you have producing and then you have mastering and then mixing. I don't know the order, but
that's like tough.
It's
the fine tuning.
It's science. Like it's really, really impressive, and like you get all these like, I don't know, it's like a spaceship, like a control station almost, and you twist the knobs and stuff makes noise, and I don't understand how to do that, and I've tried to learn, like I've sat down, I really have, but it's just my brain doesn't work like that. Like my brain, like I can hear a song completely finished in my head, but actually getting it to sound like that has been a challenge. So that's why, like, right now I'm working with someone who's in LA, so other side, because Ash is in New York, so we got bi-coastal, me in the middle, Midwest.
A little networking.
You know, Constantine is his name, and so he is helping with hopefully my future project that I'm working on right now. But it's hard with remote stuff because I've never like worked with someone in person, so I don't know really the difference, but I imagine it's generally a lot easier for like communication and just like sending files. Like you talked about sending video files and having to like break them up. Like doing that for audio is like ridiculous because they get so condensed, and I also don't know a lot of stuff that like maybe people are looking for, like with when I was recording Crocodile Tears, I did all of it how I usually do, but then Ash was like, oh, can you do it again, but with a metronome? And I was like, oh, a metronome, that's like an important part of music, is like having a beat. And I was like, cool, I can do that. So a lot of it is learning, because like I just kind of don't follow like the rules of like, which is fine, but also for ease of like making everyone else's lives easier, and like especially people who are helping me out. Like, it's been learning what is actually, I guess, the standard for music. And so it's a journey. And I'm hoping, like, my goal is to find someone in the Twin Cities that I can collaborate with in person for production. But in the meantime, I just sort of send stuff back and forth. And then for songs like Cool Girl with loops, I just sort of do it on my phone, which is fun. Because it's easy, because you can literally lay down and just boop, boop. And it does it. It's cool.
That's not that different from using samples.
Yeah, like, no, exactly.
It's already there, yada yada, but like, so what?
I like it.
It's recontextualization.
Yeah.
Working kind of with other people and having other people like add on while you're not there in the room. When you get a version of a song that you wrote back that someone's like had their hand in, have you had any experiences like kind of seeing the song in a new light with someone else's like touch added onto it?
Yeah, actually, that's a good question, because I thought that I would be a lot more like steadfast in like what I want, because like I said, I hear it how I think it should sound in my head, and when I write, like I do it all very just like pretty much in one like sitting for most songs. Like Crocodile Tears was like this is not a brag at all. But it was like 20 minutes that I just sat. No, it's like, so, because I wasn't done with it, but I like get it out, and then you have to sit with it, and then you come back to it. Is how I usually do stuff. So for that song, for songs where it's more like I already finished it and then I hand it off to someone, like Crocodile Tears, when I did the demo on GarageBand and then I gave it to Ash, it did sound different than what I heard in my head, but I liked it a lot more, and I think it was like a lot about giving up control and like being comfortable with like trusting other people's creative vision, which can be hard, and that's something that I thought I would struggle with more than I do. But I found like I'm way more like lenient, and I'm way more willing to just give people almost like full creative control, as long as we can kind of communicate from there. Agree on something before the song comes out. Yeah, so we usually I usually do like a sort of like a playlist of what I think the overall vibe of the song is, and then you send that off, and then you can maybe pick one or two tracks that you think would be the best for the song. So yeah, I did that for Crocodile Tears. I'm doing that for a song I'm working on now. Spoilers, but a little something. But it's also just like, for me, I'm always writing. Usually like, I go sleep. I put my head on the pillow, and then I like, my inner voice is like, I got something for you.
That's real.
And it's horrible because I'm like, I'm not sleeping. But then I go on my notes app and I go on my voice memos, and I probably have like thousands, because a lot of them like I don't organize, and so now I'm trying to like name them and be a little nicer to myself. But it's either like I write a song all at once, or I write it in like puzzle pieces almost, and then I fit it together. And a lot of times, like if I have a lyric or something, then I'll come back and like piece it into another song. But
do you ever like hold on to one, like maybe a loose bar that you wrote some time back? You might be writing something else and be like, ooh, that one from back when fits into here.
That exactly. I do that all the time. 'Cause I'll have like, I'll be drifting to sleep, and I will be awoken by my just like creative whatever at an inconvenient time, but it's like I don't have shower thoughts, I have like pre-sleep thoughts. And so it's like exhausting, because I'm like, I'm trying to go to bed, but then I'm like, and sometimes I'm like, maybe I used to be like, okay, if I remember it in the morning, then I know it was good.
Okay, yeah.
But I don't do that anymore, because what am I talking about? Of course I'm going to forget it. So I just record everything, even if it sounds terrible. A lot of times I never use it, but a lot of times I do, and I can find a way, even if it's just a melody or like a single phrase, sort of put that in something, and then that's how I think most of my work ends up sounding similar and not too, like, I guess, fragmented from each other. And so I think when I go to write like an album, hopefully in the future, or for an EP that I'm working on now, it's like hopefully makes it cohesive, because a lot of the songs are like all pieces of each other. Yeah.
Sweet. Yeah. I know works in progress can be a little hush hush. Is there anything you feel comfortable sharing about the EP?
I will share everything. I don't understand.
Let's go.
I like to share stuff, because I think like, I think secrecy and like having like keeping the hype or whatever is good, but I also think like I don't have enough status to like be able to have hype, you know what I mean? So I just would prefer, which I think that's fun, and I would like to do that in the future. But I think for now, it's like I share a lot of stuff like in fragments anyways. And so I think right now I have like 6 songs. I have a couple of them that I have, I guess just one that's out is Crocodile Tears. And then I have some that I performed most recently back in October that are hopefully going to be on there. But yeah, it's called Last to Leave is the name. I went through a lot of names. I've been writing it for like almost a year now, probably, because all of these songs, like Crocodile Tears was a year ago that I wrote it. And I just dropped it in April, so it's like that's a pretty lengthy time between writing and producing and dropping and stuff. And so the rest of them, like, I have sort of grouped them together, and I think I have like a set track list, but again, it's hard because I write so much all the time. Yeah. So who knows? It might change, but I think overall it'll be like 6 songs, and some of them that people heard a little sneak peek of it that might be on there. So yeah.
Do you want to talk about Halloween Hootenanny?
Yes.
Sweet.
The name is so.
First off, just great event title.
I know. I wish I came up with that. I cannot. I have to credit the garage for that, but yeah, it was good. It was I think it was 4 groups, and so it was my first time since like high school playing in a band with I know, like other people, and I didn't perform really for a while because I was in school, and I just had a completely different image of like what I wanted to do with my life, and like what I do in my day-to-day and stuff like that for like a job or whatever. Yeah. So I just didn't focus on performing, and so I didn't really have a like band or anything, and so this was my first like, I guess really first experience performing with like a group of people that are like, this is what they do for their sort of jobs. And most of them are in other projects as well. So it's a lot of like reshuffling and like trying to, you know, pick together like who has time. Because it's like, it really is like a timing thing. Because I know on the other, you know, the people that you interviewed previously, they all have multiple projects, which is just amazing. And I don't know if I have the bandwidth in my brain to like have like 6 different projects that are all like successful and they're all good.
The
like
2 that are out right now, 2 of Alex and Kate, or Al, my bad.
Al,
Sorry, Al. And Kate, like one of they share a project. They both play in solo Kate, but like the way they talked about time management was like very different. And kind of being in like 3 bands at once and doing that as a career. Interesting.
It's like, to me it sounds exhausting, but then it's also like I haven't done it, so I don't really know. Like I think that's something I would be interested in. I was like writing with other people, because right now I just write by myself, and so when I did the Halloween show, it was all my own songs, but I was lucky, like extremely lucky, to have people playing with me that were able to write out sort of guitar pieces. My guitarist Joe, for example, and they're in another project, a couple of projects as well, and they also played at the show in another group, as did the bassist Dawson, and as did the drummer Paul. So it's like
busy night.
No, it was busy, and I was like, oh my gosh, you guys, like I was so grateful to have like people that are obviously so tremendously talented, like helping me do something that, and I'm like, oh wow, I really need to catch up to you guys, because it's like I don't understand a lot of like the technical stuff of performing. Like I don't understand like you know, doing like a sound check. I've never done that before, which is like it's the
downside of DIY, trying to fit into a structure that's like pre-existing. It's like, no, I don't have mics.
I know.
It's a little voice recorder, sorry.
And this, one of the all the bands were amazing. It was Soulstream, Thieves for King, Damnphibian, which is Joe's and Dawson's and Paul's other project. And then Second Spring, shout out. No, period, check them out. But yeah, everyone was all talented, and it was like, it was super fun. It was just cool to see like other music of like, I haven't really, you know, heard most of those songs before, with the exception of a couple, because a lot of it was also unreleased music, and almost all of mine was unreleased. So it's really a special feeling to be able to be a part of that, and to be able to hear like such talented people playing stuff that, you know, basically doesn't exist yet. And you're like really
still cooking.
It's still cooking. It's in the oven and it's coming out. Who knows? But a lot of times maybe they won't release it. Like there are songs from my set list that maybe won't make it on the EP, you know? And so it's still cool, because it's like, it's a moment in time that like, it's like
those songs do exist.
They
exist. For a couple minutes, if you were there.
If you were there, if you know, you know. But then it's also
don't miss the hootenanny. You cannot miss the hootenanny.
You cannot. The hootenanny is required. But it's like, it's cool, but it's also like, you want to be able to make it accessible. And so for future shows, like, I want to be able to release music and have it on streaming, because I do want people to be like, oh, I like that song. And not have to be like, can you record it? And, you know, like, I want it to just, like, actually exist and be more accessible. Because that's the whole point of music, is, for me, is to make, like, feelings and experiences accessible to everyone and be, like, as inclusive as possible, too. So,
to share with a community.
Exactly.
Kind of looping back to working with other people, comparing the production experience of, like, working remotely with people to showing songs that aren't necessarily, like, finished or recorded, but, like, the canon version of is, like, still not set. Working with bandmates to produce a live version of the song and that type of collaboration versus all right, I'm going to send you this, you send me this back, and giving feedback indirectly. How do those two kind of experiences compare when, like, building out a song?
I think at least for writing the live, a lot of it was, like, very bare bones for me, like, handing people basically, like, chords or like a general idea, because again, like none of the songs are recorded, and except for Crocodile Tears, it's the only one that there was like really a reference point for.
Yeah.
And so I did find like doing it in person with people and like playing the songs over and over like was super fun, and it was similar, but I guess different in that it was like instant gratification almost, of like we were able to put together like, you know, basic how it should sound structures pretty quickly like together, and a lot of that was due to, you know, the people that are playing and their like musical ability and stuff. So it was like it's magical versus like me doing everything on my own and like sending it off. It's like it's just different. It's more it's not lonely, but it's definitely more like putting it out and then like waiting, and then sometimes you have to redo it and stuff like that. And it's less collaborative. And I used to think like, because I used to be really pretentious in like when I was weren't we all in like high school? But I was like, well, if you make music, you have to do it all by yourself. You have to produce everything by yourself.
You direct and write my first short film and edit it.
Yes, I thought that, like shit. And it looks terrible. And like I do a lot of stuff by myself, but also it's so nice to have a team, and it's so nice because it's really the people that make the experience. It's like you can't really release music into a vacuum or a void. Yeah. And especially like I think that's, you know, when I was just writing music solely for myself, which is still a huge part of why I write music, is just expression and like feeling almost like you have to, you know?
And like practice.
Yes, practice. But it's also like now that I see it as like a potential viable future, hopefully like something I can do long term and eventually make money from it, like it's super important to have a community and to have those connections and to be open to other people's perspectives and having other people as songwriting credits. Like, I feel like that's most people, like, because I grew up with like Taylor Swift, and so her whole, which I still love Taylor Swift, but her whole thing is like she only shout out when you're watching this, like, hey,
indie artist.
Yeah, I don't know if anyone's heard of her, but she like was a huge inspiration for like writing her own stuff. But then even then, it's like, oh, she had a lot of help. Like her dad helped a lot with like, you know, having her music get out there in the first place when she was younger. Like she has producers, she has long-term collaborators. Everything exists because of other people's, you know, help. And so
and she's from a city where I mean, she's not just country, but like largely coming up in a place where like
Nashville,
her early sound is super predominant, and like a lot of people in the city know that sound very well.
That's so
and
true.
Have experience like being a part of a community that's also like educated on what you're trying to do.
Exactly. That definitely makes a huge difference. Yeah.
You get down there in like 3 days.
I know. Ooh. Oh, really? Wait, why are you going there?
My dad lives down there.
In Nashville? That's cool.
He's from Texas, and then he moved here, had 3 kids, and
left.
Now he's down in Nashville. But no, he's an Americana guitar guy. So like that's also a huge part of it for him.
Cool.
He's not trying to make Taylor Swift music, but being part of a community where his skills are super valuable, more so than they were up here.
That's true. Oh yeah, a lot of it is finding your niche and finding your community of like, which is like life, I guess. But it's so true. Damn. But it's like
deep on
that's facts. No, I'm pondering these. I'm always
real.
pondering.
Me when I ponder.
Who up pondering? Yeah, but
yeah. 2 things I kind of wanted to hop into, origins of playing music and also like aesthetics and stuff. I feel like you have a very keen eye for like imagery and like the cover art. Would you prefer starting with one of those 2?
That's we can do origins. We can get into the Second Spring origin story. The lore is crazy. Just kidding. Yeah.
That's my damn notebook quick.
We scribble. So I feel like most artists, like if you ask them like when did you start, they're like, oh, I started when I was young. And so I don't have like a more unique story. I started when I was young. I think when I was like 6 7 or something. So I started taking piano lessons, I think when I was 5 or 6.
Damn, okay.
So pretty young. And then from there I started writing songs. But I was always like musical. My family's pretty musical. My grandma played piano. She's not dead, shout out grandma, but I don't know if she plays anymore. I don't know what she's doing over there at the home. But she played piano and she was singing stuff too. And my mom used to play the flute. So that was cool to hear, like, growing up, because that's very, like, mystical instrument when you're a little child to hear the freaking flute downstairs.
Just a metal tube.
No, like that's cool. It's so beautiful. How does it do that? And so we had the piano that one of our relatives gave to us. So it's sort of, like, indoctrinated to, like, play an instrument. And so when I was, like, 7, I would start writing songs. And the first song that I wrote, I was so proud of it. I was like, this is a banger. I used different verbiage back then, but I was like, this is so good. Yeah. And then I sang it to my parents, and they were like, you know what? That is a Kelly Clarkson song. And it was like, it was that one.
Tough.
Yeah, it was bad. But it was Behind These Hazel Eyes. I think that's what it's called. But I wrote it. I used different words, but it was the same tune, because I was 7. I was like, I don't have creativity
You found something
yet.
catchy.
It was so good, though. Like, I should have done a remix. Oh, go ahead.
Random sidetrack. Did you ever happen to see the Jonas Brothers TV show? Okay, that's a plot line from one episode of the Jonas Brothers TV show.
Oh, are you serious?
Yeah, this is now a weird tangent because you haven't seen it.
Wait,
but if you had, it would have been a banger. Check out that episode where Nick Jonas...
I will watch the episode.
I'll put a clip in if I can find one. If I didn't put a clip in, sorry.
Google it.
Anyways, Kelly Clarkson.
Yeah. They wrote a song. Wait, they thought they wrote a song and then they did it? Or what? I
think Nick Jonas's character, who may or may not have been named Nick Jonas.
I was gonna say.
I don't know how, like, true or lore heavy this was. But he, like, fell asleep watching a commercial or something and then got the jingle in his head.
Oh! Yeah, that's probably what happened.
It's a similar story. You and Nick Jonas have something in common.
Ooh, that's crazy. I'll hit him up. I'll let him know.
Alright, so that was the first song you wrote.
Yeah, wrote. But after that I wrote, like, a song called Don't Know Why, which is not Norah Jones. I did not steal another one. Great song, by the way. Shout out. But I wrote that one, and that was, like, a pervasive, like, because, like, this was before I knew how to put, like, melodies to, like, piano, so it didn't have any chords. It still doesn't. It just exists as, like, an a cappella, like, pitch perfect ass song that I just, like, have had forever, but I would sing that all the time. I used to sing it to my sister, like, to sing her to sleep, which is, like, yeah. But, and then when I would go to camp, shout out to Lago del Bosque.
Shout out to Lago del Bosque.
When I would go to Lago del Bosque, Concordia Language Villages, not sponsored, but I would sing that song to my cabin mates who might not have wanted to hear that, but I was singing it, like, before, not before siesta, but, like, before bed. God. Like, it was, like, I was that child.
Ooh, I'm getting deep, like, Bemidji flashbacks right now. I didn't anticipate this today.
Sorry, my whole life, a lot of my shit comes from, like, because I went to Spanish camp for 10 years, so, well, not just Spanish camp, but I went to camp for 10 years, so that was, like, a huge part of, like, my identity. And,
it's real.
Yeah, it's so real, and music is a huge part of that. It's a huge part of, like, cultural exchange and stuff like that, and so I would learn those songs. I would also sing the Brisa llena de amor, if you remember that song. Viene con la luz. Now, like, that's,
dude.
Like, no, like, I would sing that to my sister, I would sing that to my family, we would harmonize. So it's like, I know, I'm pulling it out. I should be a therapist after all.
Shit. I still have Denzel Kuduro stuck in my head after all these years.
La Marida.
Oh my god.
No, I'm listening to my Lago del Bosque playlist. So yeah, I would hear those songs for a week, 2 weeks, one time 4 weeks in the summer. And then I would, like, because music was a huge part of the day. It was like an hour every day or something. And it was also
dancing was very encouraged.
Dancing was encouraged.
That was probably the first place I ever, like, danced in a group during...
Yeah.
Only place I've ever, like, danced in a group doing all the same moves.
Exactly, and not been, like, embarrassed about it because everyone else is doing it.
It's, like, it's encouraged and, like, very positive and, like, this is social interaction.
Yeah, line dancing, you make friends, like, the counselors with their guitars, and it's not cringy. It sounds cringy, but when you're there, it's not like
it's very like freeing.
It is.
It's awesome.
And so that was
dance more.
We should all dance more. I'm very stiff, so I'm also trying to work on dancing more and like not being self-conscious about other people, because no one cares really. The thing is like no one cares. Like
honestly,
that sounds really sad, but like no one's really like people are paying attention to the extent that you want them to, but people aren't gonna remember if you like busted a bad move, you know?
If you're like at the show kind of dancing, no one's gonna be like, oh
no.
my god,
fucking nerd.
No.
Like, no.
Oh.
I mean, maybe me because I'm a hater, but no, I'm just kidding. But
you're so mean as fuck.
I'm so mean. No, I'm just from when I was a kid. So when I was 7, I wrote that, and then I went to Mori no Ike, which is a Japanese camp, a language immersion camp.
Sick.
I went there, and so we would do songs in Japanese, and so then I would get interested in I like this language, which it's very hard. I'm still learning it. And then I would do Spanish, and then I did French and stuff. So among all of those, music was like the thing, like because that's how I would really learn the language, and I still remember as you can tell.
And it's a cross-cultural thing.
Exactly,
like,
every
even if you know
culture.
the language a little bit,
you can enjoy a song. Exactly, it's like the great unifier of world peace or whatever. But really, it is, and music is just so. It's so important for like people like with memory issues too. Like a lot of times, like my grandma, for example, like her memory isn't the best, but she could remember a song from like the 1920s. Well, she's not that old, but like the 1940s.
Yeah, and the cognitive benefits of like playing an instrument consistently are shocking.
Yes. Yes. Which my piano is not like I did quit lessons in like 2017, I think, because I was just so stressed. High school is so hard, and I had to take the ACT, so I was like, fuck piano. And I was just like, I didn't like to practice my scales. I was so annoying about like music theory and stuff. Whereas my sister, on the other hand, she's so talented at piano, and she actually played with me at the Halloween Hootenanny, which is super sweet because, she's someone that I would sing with growing up, and she would help me like with writing and stuff, and now she's getting into her own music. But she's more of like the like theorist and like studying music theory and like knowing how to write piano pieces for songs that like I can do like the bass notes, I can do like a chord, but then like even with my existing stuff, like when I was playing with the band, which is humiliating, I should know this, but I would write the chords, and then they would be like, is it a major or a minor? And I was like, let me find this out for you.
I just think it sounds good.
I know, and it's, but you should know, like I should know that. So I'm working on like maintaining the balance of, which is something that I didn't have growing up, and now like that I'm collaborating with people, like it's more organically occurring, where I'm just like, okay, I can do things in a systematic way, but it can still be creative and stuff like that. And so just really since I was 7, so like, how old am I? Yeah, like 16 years I've been making music. And I started releasing on SoundCloud.
Yup.
I love SoundCloud though. No, way back. Like 2014, I think. So I did like my like Lana Del Rey-esque like song about like cigarettes and like older men or something.
Nothing wrong with being a Tumblr kid.
Oh, it was so bad. I was like I'm 14. Like,
what else am I supposed to do?
No, what else am I supposed to write about? It was yikes. But and I was listening. Like that was my huge influence was Tumblr. Like if you know, you know, you had to be there. Like
I do feel kind of bad for people of like our age who weren't present for like early 2010s Tumblr, because of course it looks cringy now, but like in the moment,
what were you doing though? Like I was on
Wattpad. The 1975 square held in like 2013, 14, like that like, side of Tumblr.
Like you really like Robbers, like that music video.
Oh, chokehold.
You had to be there. You had to be there. And I feel like now with music, and maybe I'm crazy, but I feel like there's not those like sort of like eras anymore of like.
Yeah.
like,
Things move very quickly.
They do move very quickly. There's not, like, a lasting, like, there was, like, the Tumblr aesthetic of, like, 1975, Marina and the Diamonds.
Yep.
Melanie Martinez. That was, like, the group.
Like, shit.
And it was crazy. And, like, that, you were a part of, that was, like, your identity. Like, you were one of those. Or you were, like, the... American Apparel, that was more like
tennis skirts, vampire
weekend. Yep. So like you
that
could
was
very
kind of my bag.
I know
that and also like Pierce the Veil. I had a horrible blog.
No, I had such a screamo phase too, which is, I was like a Black Veil Brides girly, a Get Scared girly. Like I was listening to like shit. Like it was.
I'm still a Bring Me the Horizon guy.
No,
I can't say shit. Sempiternal,
good.
like it was crazy then. It's crazy now.
It's good.
But also like that, Tumblr was a platform. I was a YouTube kid through and through. I've been on YouTube since I was like 9.
Same.
And like it's been a huge part of my life for entertainment. I was making videos when I was like 10, but I also started kind of listening to music and like branching out and finding my own things through the YouTube recommendation algorithm.
Yeah.
And then eventually, by the time I was a little emo, and I was like, Panic at the Disco? Okay.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
All right, fuck yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And, like, into My Chem, into Fall Out Boy, all that. Moving into Tumblr, being like 11 to 14 on Tumblr, that was like huge for expanding my reach of what I was like willing to give a shot.
Yeah.
Because I liked to kind of, like, I liked My Chem, but I had never listened to something like Of Mice and Men. Until Tumblr, and all my little middle school emo friends were putting new things out there, and like this platform became huge for expanding my horizons and like connecting me to new sounds.
It brought you the horizon.
Oh my god. Alright, so that's going to be the end of the podcast.
Yeah, it's fine.
But nah, that was good.
Yeah,
The social media is a huge tool.
Yeah.
Which kind of transitions into...
My aesthetics?
Yes.
Yes.
Like, both Cool Girl and Crocodile Tears, did you do both of those album covers on your own?
Yeah.
Sweet, okay.
Yeah.
I feel like you have a pretty keen eye for aesthetics.
Thank you. That's so nice. It's a great compliment.
Like, the branding is consistent, and like, I think there are a lot of people who could drop a few songs and have it not be super memorable, but like, the branding is important. It's the visual element.
It is. It is.
What's your kind of process for like, taking an art piece that is purely sonic and trying to kind of translate what you see from that sound into a square, essentially, to like convey that song to other people? It is hard
to make a square.
Oh god, thumbnails suck.
It's,
I stopped making
You have to
them.
like clickbait, not clickbait, gone wrong. Or
podcast gone dark.
Candle
podcast.
Candle fell over. My house burned down. I don't know. It's crazy. Yeah, it's so. Gotta keep the water close.
Oh god.
So, well, you can't even freaking see that, but I have like 8 candles going. Trust.
There's active fire.
Because the one thing about me, I'm a candle girl. Anyways, so I don't know how it comes to be. It just like appears to me in a dreamlike state almost. Like for Crocodile Tears, I got the idea for the cover, which is supposed to mimic a tarot card, because one of my friends had done a reading for me, and that was one of the cards. And I was like, that's crazy, because I looked up the meaning, and I was like, oh, this is fitting the situation or the emotion that the song evokes. And so then I recreated that. I stood there over in my den area, and then the picture was taken. I used like, I cut up a tablecloth to use as like, because in the tarot card there's like ropes like binding, but I don't have rope. I'm not a sailor, so I just used a tablecloth. So valid. I'm not a yacht girly, so I just used the tablecloth. I wrapped it around, and then I used PixArt, which I think honestly I could make a movie in CapCut, and I could fucking
I use CapCut.
It's so good.
Yeah.
CapCut Premium, like I'm paying for it. PixArt Premium, I'm paying for it. Like PixArt is so good. Because I don't have Photoshop, and also it's too complicated for my small brain. So I use PixArt. So I took the photos, and then I found like a free use backdrop. I played around a lot with like filters and stuff. But yeah, a lot of times like it's just something that either I see in the wild that I'm like, oh, that would be a cool cover for the song, or like I go based off of maybe the title of the track or just a lyric or something, and then I'll kind of go from there. Like first song, Ghost on the Shelf, that hopefully will be on the EP, that I had kind of like an imagery for like treating like each of the songs as like singles and like figuring out what the artwork would look like, and then based on that kind of putting them together under one umbrella square artwork. But for that one, the title, I was like, okay, Ghost on the Shelf, that's pretty visual already. How do I make that like fitting sort of the vibe of the song and just stuff like that? And like I'll ask for advice like from friends. I'll say, hey, what do you think about this? Or like, what do you think a good imagery might be for this song? Other times you just listen to it and you get an image. Like I'm one of those people that, like, you see an apple, like I can see the apple, you know what I mean? Yeah. And so I don't think I would be able to do like to make stuff if I couldn't picture the apple, which I want you to picture an apple right now. Can you? I don't know.
I don't understand people who can't accept their existence, but I don't get it.
I agree. It's like I'm like how?
Like, bro, you've seen one.
Like how? Because how do you know what an apple is if you can't see it? That's crazy to me. But people, that's cool. And so like trying to be nice to every individual, because I don't want someone to be like, well, I can't see an
apple. Actually, I don't know why you said that on the PonderCast episode 4. I'm sorry. Discriminating against people who can't see apples.
I know. I love you guys too. You're very valid.
To your core.
Because I can't do math, so... And you probably can. So congratulations. You're cooler than me. But yeah, and then otherwise everything is very like DIY. I just take everything on my phone and usually edit it. Like for Cool Girl, it was all Pixar. There's a lot of stickers. I had one of my Barbies from childhood. I decapitated her. I put her head on a plate.
Sick.
And then I sat on the chair, and so it was like it was a completely last minute idea. I just had it when I was going to sleep. I was like, wait a minute, because I already had another cover idea that was like ended up being the cover for the sped up version, because I was like, well, I have to use it. And I was just like sitting down with like the Barbie head like that. So yeah,
Word. The fun Easter egg, because I noticed looking through Spotify before this that it's the same Barbie. But in one of them, she has no body. Fun lore.
She has no head. So what happened? I don't know. There was no meaning behind it. I thought it looked cool, and it did. So that's the meaning. It worked. I know. Thank you. Because I was like, okay, Cool Girl. I think of Barbie. I don't have Bratz dolls. I wish I did. Bratz dolls are cooler, but I wasn't going to buy Bratz dolls, so I just used my Barbies, which is fair. So I was like, okay, that's an iconic, I guess, imagery of like, what do I think of when I think of cool or something? And just taking those, and then it was sort of, I guess, in a way, the meaning that I created from my original idea was like, okay, you're like eating what you think is cool, or you're consuming it or something. I don't know. But yeah, a lot of times I really just go based off of vibes, and then the meaning comes after. With like lyrics too, and like all of that, like it definitely helps to be able to take it from like a sound to an image, based on like just the vibe of it. It's very like the aura of the song or whatever. Yeah. I take that and I go from there, and
ultimately that's what cover art like sells.
Exactly.
Or communicates. Yeah. Is maybe a better word. Like,
I am a brand first, person second.
On God. Subscribe to Ponder Media. That is my full name.
Like on the license. That's mine is just.
Wait until I get this LLC going. Whew.
Oh, that's exciting.
Not soon. But.
Well, I don't even know how you do that, so that's cool. You apply?
One thing, kind of looping back to Tumblr stuff for a second. You're talking about each song kind of wanting to have a visual idea of it as if it were a single. Back to the 1975 Square, they did that for their second album. There was an image for each song that had its own little sign in neon.
Yeah.
And, like, that was how I learned that they had a second album coming out. It's like seeing those pictures on Tumblr and being like, what the fuck is Paris?
Yeah, who are you?
What is she's American? And it worked.
Yeah.
Like, it generated hype because it wasn't just like, hey, here's a snippet.
Yeah.
It was a teaser that was non-musical. It's like not knowing what was coming. I just thought that was pretty profound.
No, that is so profound. Because, a lot of times it is sort of like obviously how the song sounds is super important, but I think it's like creating a world for each song. Like for Crocodile Tears, which like, I don't know what I was doing, but I had created this like sort of like lore of like, oh, it's like a resort or a spa, like Second Spring, and this Crocodile Tears was like a supplement that you could take to like not to be able to cry without meaning it, because that's what Crocodile Tears means. And so I was like, oh, and then I made like a weird YouTube video where I took like, I mixed a bunch of weird shit up. It was disgusting. Didn't drink it, obviously, but I pretended to be an influencer, and I was like, here's the Crocodile Tears like drink, which like a lot, I don't know what I was doing or what I was really thinking.
That's so cool.
It was a creative writing exercise, because I was like, okay, this doesn't really make sense, because then I made like a fake postcard from Second Spring Industries. Like I created a fake newspaper on Canva. It's
Shout out to Canva.
All the C's. Oh my gosh. I think I like the letter C. Yeah, any free.
All 3 of your Spotify songs do start with the letter C.
It's not on purpose. It's just the alphabet letter that I chose. But I do like the like 2-word song titles, I have noticed.
Sick.
For like most of them. It's Cool Girl, Crocodile Tears. I guess girl is just 1 word, but
enough syllables.
Yeah.
It could sound like 2.
It does. Yeah.
Close enough.
That's so true. It does sound like 2. But I created this sort of like world, because like that's another thing I've done since forever is creative writing and like writing stories and writing lore. Never finishing books. Yeah, lore. Huge lore girl.
Shout out to all the lore out
like,
there.
No, there's a lot. I would do, like, I would create sort of worlds, because that was fun, because it's like, okay, I want it to be an experience, and, you know, that's another thing is, like, if I had unlimited time and money and blah, 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 like, I feel like it could be, like, a full immersive experience for each song, because I think that's how I like to enjoy stuff, is I like to, you know, read a book and then, oh, there's a website for the book, and oh, there's a trailer for the book. Like, what happened to book trailers? I don't know. But back in the day, there used to be book trailers, and it used to be like a whole like well-rounded experience of like the cover art, and then you have a music video, and then you have a, you know, I don't know, merch that goes along with it, but the merch is like specialized. It's like Lana Del Rey had her Coke spoon, alleged Coke spoon. That was cool, because that's like was her thing, her aesthetic, which, you know, I don't know if mine would be that, but like for Cool Girl, I made like a bunch of soap and I made stickers. I don't know why, but
it kind of fits the spa thing though. Like,
actually,
that lore can like create so much in terms of, I don't want to say marketing necessarily, but like in terms of cultivating like fan interest. Not to get too sidetracked, but like Amazon promoting the show The Boys, like they do like news clips on Twitter from their fictional news station in the show, and like people eat that shit up.
It's
they love it.
They did that for like Smile, the movie, where they had the people out in public. I think you know, a lot of artists, they do. There was a movie that came out recently. It's about a robot or something, and they had like robots sit at the game,
at the Chargers game,
which I don't know about that one, but I think it's so cool if you can take something that exists pretty much in a vacuum, and then it's suddenly everywhere, and you can actually experience it outside of just listening to it for 3 minutes, because it's like it makes you want to be a part of the world. And so that's what I hope to cultivate for my future songs. And you know, for Cool Girl, like, it wasn't so much, like, of a thing with, like, where I had the lyric video, like I did for Crocodile Tears, but it's still, like, trying to keep it a consistent, I guess, brand of, like, okay, this is all, I guess, Barbie themed now. And then Crocodile Tears was very, like, nature-y sort of themed, very organic, like, I don't know. And then, yeah, it's like an era almost.
Yeah, well, anthology of songs, all set in the same
world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude, sweet.
It's cool.
That is super cool.
Yeah.
I had not picked up on that. But, like, that is super exciting.
Yeah, so we'll see.
I'll be looking a little deeper.
You gotta look deep. You gotta read my Canva newspapers.
Dude, I will. And, like, things like kind of hidden lore for, like, a concept album, even if they're not super apparent at face value, like, are you... You're a Tumblr kid. Are you into Arctic Monkeys at all?
Of course I am.
Okay,
I went to their I know.
Yeah. So, like, Tranquility Base is a concept album. And there is a whole narrative structure to that and world behind it. But, like, that's not super prevalent at face value. Like, some lines and some songs might be like, oh, okay, he is talking about working the front desk at a casino or being in a house band at the same casino. But, like... If you're listening to it in your car on the radio, you might not pick up on there being this expansive world behind the album. And, like, then if you get into the song and kind of pick up on it more, discovering that world can be such a treat.
Yes. The Easter eggs, as they're called.
Oh.
Like, trying to make those is so hard. And, like, a lot of times I think, like, I've noticed with a lot of things, other people, like, the fans create the meaning or whatever. Like, I think a lot of the times, like... to talk about Taylor Swift again, like, she, of course, is a genius, but a lot of her stuff, I don't know necessarily that she plans all of it. I think a lot of times people create the meaning from what is out there, and then they create the Easter eggs, but I don't know necessarily if you intend to do that, and so with my stuff, you just sort of make it, and then you put it out, and maybe it connects, like, like you said, the soaps for Cool Girl sort of being with the spa theme, like, sure. Yeah. Like, that's a meaning that you created. The interpretation? And that's great, because I just made them because I wanted to make a craft, and I was like, I could make a candle, or I could make soap.
Dude, sick.
So, and yeah, everything I do, like, all my visuals and stuff is all, like, DIY. I make a lot of, like, miniature stuff. I do a lot of just, like, crafting, like, in general, like... For Crocodile Tears, for the music video, I had, actually, I can grab them. Please pause. I had all of these letters. So, these are like, let me hold it like a YouTuber. So, I had all these letters that, thank you, that I like, use. I don't think this is all of them, but I, like, this took me forever. I cut them out of, like, magazines, and then I would spell out all of the frames in the Crocodile Tears lyric video. I don't know what it meant or why I did that, but once I started, I could not stop. Yeah. So now I have this bag that maybe I'll use it again. That's why I keep it like a hoarder. So,
is there just like a couple of every letter, or is it specifically the ones you needed?
It's specific to the words. Okay. I could have just made the alphabet like a normal person, but I just made the letters because I was like, I don't want to make a Z. But like,
and what if you have to write a word that has like 3 E's in it?
Exactly. Okay, yeah. Like I had this space bubble, which is like a charcuterie board or speech bubble that was in there, I think, for part of it. I don't know what I was doing, but I was doing something. And so I made that like a labor of love, where it was really like I was in it. Like I spent hours editing that and like putting that together. All my spare cardboard that I collect, like over there is just a bunch of cardboard because I use it. It's not. I do end up using it. It doesn't sit there forever. So you really have to be resourceful because, all of that I did with $0. I just had paint and all this stuff. And, like, all of the songs, like, of course I paid the producers because you should pay your artists for your work. That's important. But for, like, Cool Girl and stuff, I just did it for free on my phone. And I've been immensely, very, very lucky to have people to help me. Like, I literally wouldn't be able to do Crocodile Tears or my future stuff without people taking a chance and, like, liking my stuff. And so
being willing to work alongside.
Yes, exactly. And to honestly do some writing, and for me to be, to get over myself and to be like, okay, like, you can help me write this, and it's still just as good as if I did all of it by myself. If anything, it's even better.
Allowing the freedom of openness.
Yeah.
Not containing everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Also, free software is like you mentioned, Logic, not free. But GarageBand is free and like incredibly comprehensive.
Yes.
And CapCut rocks.
It's so good.
It's so easy.
It's so good. Yeah.
I struggled. I hadn't used it until the Bigfoot video, but like now that I know how to use it, like,
no, I could tell. I was like, I'm seeing some CapCut.
Yeah, you know those fonts.
I do know the fonts. I know the fonts.
We're about coming up on time. Is there anything that we didn't get to that you want to talk about, or any like things coming up that you want to discuss, or anything you want to plug?
Well, I think I plugged everyone already, but yeah, I'll plug the Bigfoot video because we talked about it like 3 times, and of course the other podcast episodes that I briefly mentioned with Al and Caitlin, right? Or Kate, yes.
There will be another one out before this, but there'll be 3 more. Go watch all of them.
No, they're good.
If you've already watched them, watch them again. I need the views.
Yes, so, we all need the views.
Frankly.
Yeah, but yeah, I would just say, like, I don't know, there is no limit to what you can do with no money, because I am living proof of that.
Oh, God.
And yeah, for promotion and stuff, because people do ask me, like, with Crocodile Tears and stuff, like, just asking playlisters, and, like, I would say Instagram ads, $5 goes a long way. Obviously, you have to have, like, a good video, but, like, for Crocodile Tears, for the lyric video, I just would do, like, a one-day campaign, and I would get a lot of followers that way.
Yo.
So, I recommend, like, if you have a snippet.
Making shorts.
No, yeah, shorts, like, reels or whatever. Like, people look at that, because we're all on our phones, we're all doom scrolling all the time, so why not make something interesting to look at? So, yeah.
Shout out to digital media sharing platforms.
Shout out Instagram.
Shout out to YouTube.
No, YouTube, you changed my life.
Oh, God.
From the Minecraft YouTubers to PewDiePie to whoever else. Most people are canceled now, but back in the day, you had to be there, and it was good. And it was wholesome. But yeah, I would say just keep creating, everyone.
Sweet. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
I came up with, Ponderers came up with a name in the second episode. Now
of the fan base?
We do be pondering.
No.
I got like 18 subs as of today, so.
I think you have like 21 now. I looked. So.
That's gas. Great job, guys. Like Thank you so much. Keep it up.
+3, like that's crazy. And if you get on the Instagram ad grind, you could keep it going.
Someday I'll monetize. I have a plan.
Oh, it's more than I have.
Very early on in the plan. But watch out in like 5 years. It's going to be some crazy shit.
5 years. Mark your calendars.
Don't miss it. Hope you found something either interesting, informative, or insightful. Please like and subscribe. And tell all your friends. And also listen to Second Spring. Links in bio.
Yes. And to my 2 songs. 3 songs, sorry.
3 songs. And an EP coming.
So stay tuned.
Bye.
Bye.
You are watching Ponder Media.